welcome back. It is still the AM Weekend Show. Right now, we are going to be taking a look at all that is going on the front pages of our national dailies, beginning with the Saturday Times. The boldest headline we have here says, "Stray bullet kills 10-year-old at Katsina wedding." Also on this paper, dissecting the Buhari years, the praises, the knocks. This is credited to our reporters. Also on this paper, Labake Olododo scores big at Nigerian box office. Finally, Tinubu praises Aminu Dantata's life of integrity and generosity.
And straight to First News newspaper, boldest headline says, Buhari final chapter, the death, the silence, the shadow of Jibril. Rider says, nation reflects on mystery, legacy, and unanswered questions. Atiku will return to PDP, shrugs off latest exit as familiar move. Also on this paper, Tinubu appoints IBB's son as Bank of Agriculture chairman. And finally on this paper, lawyer Kanu was bluffing. Federal government, IPOB still a threat. That's the much we can take from this paper.
All right, moving on to Blueprint Weekend. The boldest headline here says, Forest Guards Law, how it can turn the tide in fight against insecurity. Says it's credited to hunters and others. The writers say there must be well-defined rules of engagement for forest guards. Governors should take advantage of the initiative, says security experts. Personnel recruitment must not be politicized, says hunters. Another headline here says domestic equity markets remains bullish, gains 824 billion naira. Relocates to higher grounds. Niger Governor Bago tells 2,000 flood-prone communities. That is the much we can take on this paper.
And straight to the metrics, Usman's appointment as Labour Party's interim chairman runs into troubled waters. We also have here spraying, stamping on Naira, now a crime, not culture. EFCC boss warns. Yahaya Bello marries fourth wife in private Abuja ceremony. And lastly on this paper, court dismisses bid to halt Rivers budget appointment.
Moving on to Saturday Punch, the boldest headline says, inside 3,500 euros per day, elite London clinic where Buhari died. The writers say hospital boasts modern equipment, 900 doctors treat over 120,000 patients yearly. NMA, MDCAN, NARD condemn leaders lavish medical tourism. That's one of the headlines we have here. Another one here says 150 billion naira presidential jets returns from South Africa after refurbishment. Emerging best among 7,000 candidates reward for my resilience, first-class law school graduate says. And finally, APC kicks as ADC accuses Tinubu of politicizing Buhari's death.
And to the Guardian weekend, lean yield frustrates dairy industry's desire to meet high local demand. And we can see the cartoon picture, and more of this is on page 8 and 9. 2027, Southwest governors urged to endorse Tinubu. More of this is on page 36. Alleged 29 billion naira fraud. Buhari's death scuttles ex-governor Nyako's plea. Bargain bid. This is on page 3. And lastly on this paper, federal government begins 10 billion naira Aso Rock solar power project as national grid challenges persist. That's
moving on to Tribune, Saturday Tribune. The cover story says, at National Summit, Nigerians say enough to flawed federation, flawed constitution. Also on this paper, Makinde, wife installed as Are, Omoluabi, Yeye Are, Omoluabi of Akure Kingdom. Bandits kill 6, abduct more than 100 in Zamfara. Another headline here says, Atiku's resignation, neither a surprise nor a threat, credited to PDP. That's what we have on Tribune.
And straight to Saturday Vanguard, Constitution Review. Nigerians propose a single 6-year tenure for president and governors. Rider says to avoid the use of public funds for re-election campaigns, disruption of governance. You can find more of this on page 10. Governor Mobolo to Peter Obi, don't ever come to Edo State without my clearance. You have no right to do so. CUPP replies Governor. This is on page 5. Tinubu appoints IBB son as chairman of Bank of Agriculture on page 7. Kanu court to rule on motion to stop trial October 10. And that's the much we can take from this paper.
Moving on to Leadership Weekend, the boldest headline here says, why Buhari was reluctant to sack ministers, echoes Gambari. Says cabal in the late president's government tried to undermine him, praises Osibanjo for decorum, what Nigerians didn't know about Buhari, credited to Fashola, Amechi, and Dari. Another headline here says, flight chaos, NCAA Airlines trade blame over delays and cancellation. Also on this paper, 3-year-old boy dies in uncovered septic tank in Abuja. Beyond the scars, Sokoto's unending battle against flesh-eating normal disease. That's what we have on Leadership Weekend.
And Weekend Trust, the last paper for today. Boldest headline, Buhari's political legacy, who takes over? We have a cartoon picture, and this is on page 4. Tinubu appoints IBB's son, others as head of agency. More of that on page 14. Kanu's threat to break up Nigeria, not a joke. This is by federal government on page 14. And lastly, on this paper, we have from battlefield to royalty, generals turn traditional rulers. And you can find more of this and others on page 10 from Weekend Trust.
I mean, a lot.
A lot. Always a lot.
A lot. We're seeing disease breakouts. We're seeing the defections to different parties and all the back and forth going on. I was just talking with my friend earlier and I said, 2027 is going to be hot.
It's going to be hot.
It's going to be very, very hot because we're just in 2025 and a whole lot is going on. Threats here and there. Different talks. I don't know how it makes me feel as a Nigerian. I feel like traveling. I feel like leaving the country.
And it makes me wonder, is this where we're supposed to focus at this particular time? I mean, it's still 2 years to go. Like, we still
that's to show you how much the thing has eaten deep. Everybody just wants to buy for power. At the end of the day,
it makes me understand that it's not really about making Nigeria a better place. It's always about personal needs, personal desire, because this whole fight from one party to the other, who is joining the party, who is resigning, who is apologizing, who is writing letter, all these things shows that it's not really about Nigeria, it's about these people. And honestly speaking, I at this point, I don't have any predictions for 2027. I used to think I had predictions. The other day I was going through Twitter and I saw somebody say that in 2027, P2B is going to win on social media as usual. Then the strong persons are still going to win the normal way that happened. That the same thing that happened in 2023 is going to happen again in 2027. And I think that's not far from the truth. It's not far from the truth because these people have a different way of going about this whole thing. It's not about the clamor. It's not about we know who we want. It's about the voting. Will your votes count? How are we going to make sure that our votes count in 2027 and not just making noise and going out again to vote? Because in 2023, we went out en masse to vote. And at the end of the day, what happened? It was very clear. It was glaring even to the blind that there is something, we did our best, but it wasn't counted. You understand? So what are we going to do differently to make sure that our votes count in 2027?
I mean, what hurts me most about this, especially now, is the fact that, like you said, it looks like the betterment of the nation is not really what is priority to a lot of people because it feels like we've just been abandoned. All eyes on 2027. The current government, 2027. Opposition, 2027. Everything is just so linked together. And that's why one of the headlines here said was accusing Tinubu of politicizing Buhari's death. And then looking at it too, looking at the conversations around it too, the way Peter Obi was dragged, you did not go and see, you did not go and visit, then that means all eyes are on you. Does everything have to point us to the election? Does every single... What are we saying about now? What are we saying about our current situation? What are we saying about the current economy? What are we saying about the price of rice and beans in the market? We've just left, we've just abandoned everything. Both those in politics and we that are living our lives who are all eyes on 2027, all eyes. Please, I'm tired. I'm tired. And I think that's where we're going to wrap up this newspaper review. You can get more of the stories on all of the papers. You can, check online or you get your newspapers and just follow through. All the best. Up next on the AM Weekend Show is our trip around the region right after this short break. Don't go anywhere.